Hey there, Cheesemeisters, and welcome back to the Peach Pod. That most certainly would not have been Little Saint Nick by the Beach Boys because that song fucking sucks. I hate it. It's the worst Christmas song ever. I will fight all of you wonderful Christmas time haters with a spork if you come at me about that song being worse than Little Saint Nick, because there's the only possible Christmas song worse than Little Saint Nick is Mambo Number 5, but with the reindeer names.
Wow.
I heard that one too, and that is pain. But Little Saint Nick is still worse, and even though it was playing in the Peach Pit, we're not going to talk about it. Stupid ass song.
Okay.
I hate that song. I'm Jeff. Yeah, you're wrong. That's okay. I'm Jeff, and I've seen too many French films. Just like Dylan. Dirty Clarence. And joining me on the other end of the internet, my host.
I'm Leslie, and no one's coming in. I got him well trained.
You got nobody trained.
No.
Cindy's coming right in because Cindy, like all of us, and all of us meaning also Miriam and Clarence, just like watching people make out. Like,
yep.
we're big into it. And it's all we did this episode is watch people make out. So this week, Cheesemeisters, we are discussing season 3, episode 16. It's a totally happening life. Original air date, December 16th, 1992. Did you throw up in your mouth or throw something during this episode?
No, I was so confused in the first 5 minutes. Like, what is happening?
Right.
Why are we panning and zooming in on the light, on the stars above the Walsh's house? And then this pink light comes in and starts talking, and I went, oh, shit.
Yeah.
This is a bastardized version of It's a Wonderful Life. Damn it.
Yes, it is. So, weren't expecting that, were you?
I really wasn't. And I know everyone, yes, it's in the title, but how many other movies have been in the title and there's been like, it's, the plot that it's referencing is touched on barely.
Right. Yeah, I mean, or at least for you caught this at the beginning, not after watching it 2 times and talking about how East Side Story is Romeo and Juliet. It took me a long time to put that one together. So I would say don't feel bad. But like, you see why it was so hard for me to prep you for this episode, because it's dumber than a box of hammers. But it's also like a lot of shit happens, and I kind of like the framing and telling the story in like these weird little chunks, but putting the fucking angels in It's a Wonderful Life thing, and then at the end when you stick on the garbage truck driver who's gonna murder everybody.
I know.
I don't understand any of it. None of that shit makes any sense.
The editing, I don't know if it's a problem with my brain like it usually is, or if they did a bad job editing, but I swear it made it look like the bus and the truck were just driving towards each other on the same road every time they showed the clip. And then I realized
they definitely were.
It's like, I mean, they definitely were, but from a storyteller perspective, they were trying to make it seem they're on the same route towards each other and not just constantly going at this like the same road.
But it was the same shot, I think, over and over again. It's like, well, there's the exactly, yeah, the bus that wouldn't slow down. Yeah, it's
really dumb. It's really dumb. But I finally it took me this episode to finally watch something with the ridiculous lenses that you have and go, yeah, this is really dumb. Oh my god, this is laughably dumb.
Yeah. I mean, like, it's clear why this is one of my favorite episodes. Because it's like a lot of shit happens, but then there's just this bonkers element to it that makes no fucking sense. But it's like the whole thing's built around it, and we're just gonna, we're suddenly there's just fucking angels. I don't. Okay, like we're doing this now.
They had no one else to care about or worry about this week,
Right.
except for
Yeah.
these
These assholes.
privileged ass teens. I'm
Like it's
sorry.
so no, it's I'm with you. Um so there's so many different things I'd like to talk about here, but like let's dispense up front with the only possible excuse for doing this. And that is that it's a Christmas episode and Christmas stories are fantastical.
Mm-hmm.
There has to be an element of the fantastic in them in order for them to be a Christmas movie almost across the board. Like not really a Christmas story. Like that's pretty much just straightforward. There's no magic involved. But
Yeah.
I mean, if you're talking a Christmas Carol, that's a fucking ghost story. It's a
Yeah,
Wonderful Life. I don't even remember the plot of the Nutcracker. So tell me how that one's fantastical, other than like the dancing toys and shit. Is that it?
I mean, a little girl gets a nutcracker for Christmas, and then the first night she has it, it comes to life, and oh, so do the rats in the house, and then they battle, and then the nutcracker wins, and they go to the land of the sweets, which, as I summarize it, it does sound bonkers, but I love it,
Awesome.
and all I ever wanted was to be Clara. Okay.
That's awesome. Maybe if you're like a magical nutcracker, try to contain your magic to just other nutcrackers. Like I wouldn't want to get that as a gift if I knew it was going to make the rats come to life. Like I don't want dancing rats, and that's a lot. It's a lot extra on my plate this holiday season. Right. So there's another great example. It's a Wonderful Life has like alternate reality. It does a whole lot of stuff. It's a Wonderful Life is almost a sci-fi movie. It doesn't have technology involved except for my car. It'd be really hard for me not to quote "It's a Wonderful Life" for this episode and the next.
I keep smashing.
Oh my god. Um. So, like, if you're gonna do a Christmas show, it's totally fine for it to contain an element of the fantastical,
That's
right?
what
Like,
we long for.
yeah, that makes it a Christmas show. Like even Charlie Brown, like that tree can't look like that. I don't care how many kids come around it and sing. You are not making that tree look like that. That's not going to happen.
Exactly.
So
It's finally nice to Charlie Brown. That's the miracle that we don't
right.
talk about.
I love it.
I want you to sing that way. That's bad for your voice.
I like that big inhale that they all do. And back
Yeah.
up again.
Also bad choral form, but they're children. I'll let it slide.
Yeah, they're cartoon children. That's fine. Um. So like, so while it is completely preposterous that suddenly 90210 is a show with angels in it and fucking magic trucks and shit. It's a holiday episode, and so that kind of stuff is okay.
Yeah.
But man, is it dopey as fuck in this episode.
It's so dopey. And again, the way it's only because of the angels that they're able to loop all of these stories together. It's only because they all end up on a bus together that they're able to tie all these things in together, because they don't really impact each other. The thruple has no bearing on Brandon and Andrea.
Right.
Like,
although I think I think as a point I'll make later is it's possible that the thruple saved their lives.
thruples save lives. Hey.
Facts. Sorry.
was gonna say too, the David stuff is kind of random, but again, it can easily be shoehorned in, much like other shit with this, you know?
Yeah.
Uh Gil, obviously he knows the police are on his tail, so he's gotta change his look. And he's like,
Right.
you know what? I'm gonna make Andrea feel like shit so that she bets me that she won't get into Yale and I'll get rid of this beard. Oh, you did? Darn, I gotta shave my beard.
Yep. I like it. Gil is covering his tracks.
He
Not changing
did.
his name or leaving the job he holds where he ran over this child, but he's going to hang around and neg her and then shave his beard. Maybe bearded Gil was evil Gil, and moving forward we're going to have like, without a beard he's not so evil anymore. Maybe, I don't know.
I won't shave him.
But there's a whole lot of shit going on with Gil. So here's what happens in this episode, everybody. There's a lot. It's a fuck ton that happens in this episode. Clarence, we might as well start with Clarence. Clarence is now not only from Brooklyn, but also an asshole. So, like, big changes for Clarence after reading the book that Mark Twain was writing in the afterlife.
Wouldn't you after the recession? Wouldn't you be?
But they don't. I mean, we don't have money, my good man.
Reagan, wouldn't you be?
Yeah. Well, I mean, it had worn on him quite a bit. It was clear, and so Clarence is just up there in heaven, like, I don't know, channel surfing for porn, and Miriam comes up. Miriam is Clarence Jr. So she's the one looking for her wings, but instead of like Clarence giving her a job, she's like pitching work. Like, she's out there, she's just like, she's cold calling. I mean, she's trying to get them wings. And she's like, Clarence, I got a story. I got a chance to earn my wings here. But before I tell you what it is that I'm gonna do, she doesn't. She doesn't do anything at the end. No. She doesn't do anything. Clarence does, and then so does God, apparently. But Miriam doesn't. I don't know how Miriam gets her wings, other than by just telling Clarence about these fucking kids. So she's like, I'm gonna get my wings, but check this out. I gotta tell you about all of the dirty sex these kids might be having. And then by the end of it, when they're really mad at each other, I will have convinced you that their lives are worth saving, and then you're going to deal with this Greg Clemens situation. And Clarence is like, I'm busy, but fuck, go ahead. And so Dylan and Kelly and Brenda are all three musketeers.
Yep.
They're in good shape. Everything's happy. They're having fun. They're prepping for the Alvarado Street kids Christmas situation. Steve is serving detention because, like, last week he was going to be kicked out of school for life. And David's mom is moving to Portland. Okay. And David's upset about this. It was the thing that's happening. Andrea gets into Yale. But Jay breaks up with her by letter. Nikki comes back to town, makes out with Brandon, gets caught, breaks up with him in the bathroom because she's going back to San Francisco because now the Diesel's out of the picture. Everything's good with her family, so bye. Another thing that just happened real fast. And Donna is like the chairman of this toy drive situation, getting everybody, here we go. And Dylan has to wear a Santa suit, even though he don't want to. And then, like, this, it's just all out of order, and but they're all mad at each other on this bus, and they were just at the beginning. Everybody was cool. Everything.
They had to get a big bus just so that all, like, the leads could sit far away from each other because the magical kids were all squished up together and having a great time.
Well, and that's for the acoustics.
Okay.
That's proper bus choir behavior. That's the way you set that up. As far
We
as
took up the whole bus. There was none of this sitting far away from each other.
yeah. Well, you guys had egos. These kids don't. They're like they're one cohesive unit. These madrigals, and they're totally worth saving from Greg Clemens, the bus driver.
Wonderful.
But Miriam doesn't want to talk about them. Like she says that's who they are, but she didn't want to get into it.
No.
She would rather spend the 1 hour she has getting Clarence up to speed by telling him why every other person on this bus fucking sucks. So now single, Brandon and Andrea make out but think about other people, and so they're mad at each other.
Might have been the dumbest part, honestly. Like, her ending the kiss to go, you were thinking about Nikki. Like, Andrea, I'm already mad at you for pulling the whole, I used to think getting into Yale was my dream. Like, really?
Now boys are.
I get it. I was once a teenage girl, too. I get it. But, oh my god, that... Stupid. Stupid.
It is. I will say this. Andrea's entitled to a bad week. You know.
Okay. You know what? Fair. She's got a lot of pressure on her.
Yeah, there's a lot going on. So they're mad at each other. David is just a pouty puss because his mom's moving. He don't want to film the video anymore. Boo, blah, blah, blah. Plus, Andrea gets into Yale, and now he's like bummed out because he realizes what the writers of the show realized like 6 months ago. Oh shit, he's a year younger than them. What if they graduate high school? So David's a moper, and Brenda makes out with Dylan, and then Kelly makes out with Dylan, and then Brenda catches Kelly and Dylan making out with each other, and there's a whole fight, and they're mad at each other, and Dylan won't wear the Santa suit because he's too skinny, and then they give him cookies and make him choose. So Donna, God bless Donna, is once again in the middle and has to yell at everybody for being assholes.
Mm-hmm.
And, but none of that matters because the real danger, Clarence, is this: they're going to get killed. What?
Because Greg Clemens is tired of everyone's shit. He's had a rough life. The recession hit him hard, even though he still has a job, but maybe this is the only job. It's so bad, people. He's full on drinking and driving on the job.
Yep. How does he know where we're going? Yeah, Greg Clemens. Yeah, he really was right at this bus full of children. But Miriam doesn't tell Clarence about the bus full of children until... Okay. Miriam has a terrible plan. Her plan is these kids are going to get murdered by a drunk driver. Vehicular manslaughter coming their way. Toot, toot. And I got to get Clarence on their side so that he wants to save them. So I'm going to tell him why they all suck. And Clarence is like, well, I'm intrigued. I took care of the bus thing before. That guy's on the 405. I should not. That's Craig Clemens, you asshole. That's Greg Clemens. I don't even know. No, I don't even know where you heard that name because I didn't say it. And if you read it in the script, it was probably written out. So I don't know where you're making this confusion, Clarence. But fuck right off with Craig Clemens.
Clarence is also drinking on the job.
Yeah. Well, I don't blame him. I mean. Look who's worth saving. These assholes.
You know why? Because she clearly died young, and she's like, no angel was there for me, so I'm gonna be the woman that I needed as a little girl.
Yeah, the one out there just championing the sluts. Everybody in this episode just too much. Okay, so here's something this episode's really about. Kissing is bad. It is. Brandon and Nikki kiss, and then she breaks up with him. Also, Cindy walks in. Awkward.
Well done, Cindy.
Brenda and Dylan kiss. That's not good. That goes against the whole Geneva Convention thing you got going here.
Yep.
Then Dylan and Kelly kiss, and that's bad because Brenda catches them, and it's a whole fucking thing. Then Brandon and Andrea kiss, and that's bad because they're thinking about the wrong people. Kissing is bad. All across the board.
I think they're just doing it wrong.
Well, it may, but they're doing it so many different ways. How are they all wrong?
Variety is the spice of life.
But some of the variety's got to be good.
Also, it's called maybe have a fucking conversation beforehand. Although, again, when you're a teenager, you don't. Like, my first kiss happened because a guy asked me, do you want to make out? And it's like, okay.
Why, yes, I do. Now that you mention it.
I thought no one would ever ask.
So let's just do that. Let's do some making out right about now.
Yep.
Except for it's bad, because all this stuff happens. Like, why does every single story, except for David's mom moving to Portland, have to do with people making out?
Because, okay, that's where I think one of the things this episode is about is how they hate teenagers. They think teenagers are stupid. They think they're ungrateful, and the only thing they do is make out with each other. And like, yes, but also
yeah.
other things. Like, it's funny to me how we write teenagers, because yes, we amplify these things that everyone loves to pinpoint as their most annoying qualities, and then we also expect them to be better than adults.
Right.
And so we write these plots hoping that they get the hint and stop making out with each other, even though they're not making out now, they're on their phone. Still, we hope they stop being a teenager and be better than us, adults.
Here's a thought I just had when you were saying that stuff. Do you know Terrence and Phillip? Are you familiar with Terrence and Phillip? Are you familiar with South Park?
Oh, just that they killed Kenny. Okay.
So early on in the run of South Park, I can't remember what season this was. Maybe season 1 or 2. The people who were like the critics were like, some critics anyway, the ones who didn't get it, were like, this show is just crudely drawn fart jokes. And Trey Parker and Matt Stone went, And so they set up this whole storyline, this whole cliffhanger with who is Cartman's dad, because Cartman's mom is a well-known slut.
Oh no!
It's a whole episode. Like, it could have been the entire 1987 Denver Broncos, like, as one of. Okay, and so it's a cliffhanger. They're coming back in 6 weeks, and in 6 weeks, I think it landed on April Fool's Day. I don't remember exactly, but it might have. Instead of paying off that storyline, they did an entire episode of Terrence and Phillip, which are 2 Canadian cartoons that the South Park kids watch that are even more crudely drawn than South Park and are literally only fart jokes.
Oh my God.
Then they did a half an hour of it. It's like, you want to see crudely drawn fart jokes? That's what this is. And it's hysterical. Okay. So I say all that to say this. Is it possible that Charles and Karen Rosen, who wrote this episode, heard this critique of 90210 and teen dramas in general, which is all these kids do is make out and fight with each other? And they said, you want to see what that looks like? Also, It's a Wonderful Life. Like, maybe this was like a meta commentary on the way we perceive teen dramas.
I'd believe that.
I kind of would too. I've almost talked myself into it, and I had literally not thought about it until 5 minutes ago.
That would make more sense to me than, because up until this point, as ridiculous as it all is, these kids do have depth, you know? And also, like, I really feel that the critiques we throw at teenagers just come from jealousy. Like, you know, I too miss just getting to make out with no consequences or doing stupid stuff in the safety net of my privileged upbringing, you know?
Right.
Like,
in the safety net of just being a teenager. Yeah.
Yes, yes, we all miss that. Stop shitting on kids because you miss being one. Like,
Right. Unless
no,
that's your kink, and then go to town.
nope, that's weird. I'm pretty sure it's illegal. Nope, do not endorse that.
So we found one kink we're willing to shame
Yes.
on children. Okay. Here's what worries me. Now that we know there's a line, I think we're about to be forced to make a judgment. I think now, before all of them were fine, but now like shitting on children is.
Bob's job, it's not his bad. You sicko.
All right. Don't shit on kids. Eat it. Man.
Kinks, though, humans are never satisfied. That's what this episode's about.
Yeah. Yeah, you get into Yale and then you get to make out with the guy you've always wanted to make out with, and that's not enough because he's thinking about something.
He's thinking about someone else, and you're also thinking about someone who you haven't seen in months, and I'm sorry, that was barely a thing.
Yeah.
You know, Dylan obviously isn't satisfied for many reasons.
Uh-huh.
Brenda and Kelly aren't satisfied because they're not being chosen. Not yet. And hey, guess what? They're not going to be happy with however this ends.
Yeah. I think you're right. No one's satisfied in this thing. Here's one of the things I think this episode is about, and it's very nuts and bolts. This episode was full of table setting. Like they are, like they did a really good job, even as weird as this fucking episode is, with using the characters and their interpersonal relationships to advance plot and set storylines. Like set storylines, not necessarily in motion, but moving them forward. So they get rid of Jay and Nikki, just like in the two quickest yada yada broke up. Like they're just, and that kind of I hate that for Nikki. I don't care about Jay because we haven't seen him since the summer and whatever.
But Nikki hurt.
Yeah, this is a shit way to get rid of Nikki. Like, there's no reason. You don't have to do this. You don't have to get rid of that character. But they did, and boo, because I like her.
Yeah, I liked her too.
Yeah, so she is gone. Oh, come on, Brandon. Like, women don't throw themselves at you every day. Nat Geo.
Nat was, the adults were tired of their shit. I mean, Nat was just tired. The Walshes were like, we're just gonna make fun of you all the whole time because you all are ridiculous. And Mrs. Teasley, the queen, was, I am fucking done. They finally got my hair right. They have dressed me even better than before, and I am done with your all's bullshit. Oh,
Yep.
It was great.
Yeah. But you're still gonna get murdered by this drunk driver, Mrs. Teasley. Sorry about your luck.
Thank God she didn't. Oh my God.
Yeah. The whole thing where Dylan's finally gonna have to choose, like putting that in motion. Like we're done with the stall tactic that's been happening for the last 16 episodes. Like it wasn't 60, it's probably the last 12 episodes since Dylan and Kelly kissed. Maybe it was episode 3. Anyway, it's been a long time. They've been stretching this shit out. And so I think we're finally moving towards resolution. Which kudos to them for making this thing last, because they really have. David's mom moves and he decides to graduate early. David's mom moving to Portland won't come up again in any real way until season 6.
Wow.
Yeah. Like they just punted Sheila to the Pacific Northwest and like, we'll come back for you later.
Enjoy the weed.
Yeah, exactly. So she, but again, Two real quick things. Like,
Yeah.
let's put this out there. They had no idea they were going to do this in 4 years or 3 years, but they do. And kickstart David graduating early. Like, all that stuff need to have happen. And Steve learns that if he chooses charity, it might be a way back into Mrs. Teasley's good graces.
It's such a weird interaction.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I knew the kind of story they were trying to tell without saying it, like showing him as Santa and then showing Mrs. Teasley and then him pulling Andrea. Like,
He's
again,
good with
I know the story they were trying to tell. I wanted more. I wanted it to be done better.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think they gave either of them enough direction on, like, this is what you're thinking here. This is what you're thinking here. And now this is what you're thinking. Like, you all need to be telling each other a story. You need to be talking to each other with your eyes. All these people were doing was staring at each other. Like,
yeah.
Oh, you drive me nuts. But your mom slipped me a 50 for a Christmas gift, so
Right. And you know what? You were cute with those kids over there.
gross. He
by
was,
the
but
way-
also he didn't call them out for playing Simon Says Wrong.
That's true. That's true. Although I will say the winner for best reaction with the children is Kelly when that little girl is doing whatever she's doing for Dylan. I can't remember what it was. If she like did a trick or something.
Oh, yeah, he said, "Now you just flick your wrist," and she said, "Oh, bet."
Oh, with the yo-yo. And Kelly's reaction was, "My lord." So funny. Like,
No
I
one told
almost
Jenny
feel that
talented.
I don't think Jenny knew that kid was going to do a yo-yo trick because that felt like such a real reaction. My lord.
Yeah.
Yeah. All the way thumbs up for that part.
That little girl said, no man certainly is going to teach me how to yo-yo. I'm going to teach you, sucker.
Right. You're too skinny to be Santa, bitch. Yeah. Okay. Anything else you think this episode is really about? Because I have a question to dig into, but what do you got?
I want to hear the question.
Okay. So, and I texted you this, and so Miriam's telling this story, right? And all she's doing is telling Clarence about how these kids, like every scene, these kids look worse than the scene before. So, but at some point along that path, Clarence goes, I'm interested in this. I think it's worth saving these kids. I'm gonna Craig Clemens this shit. It's fine. We're good. Okay. Now, and then Miriam will tell me how this all ends. So the question is, at what point along that arc is Clarence convinced that these kids deserve to be saved?
Oh boy.
Here's some options.
Okay.
Is it when he sees that David's mom is moving back to Portland and David is a little heartbroken? Is it when Brandon got dumped and Andrea got dumped and they tried to find comfort with one another? But we know that's not it because he didn't know this. This was like the last thing he learned. So was it when they both got dumped? Did he go? Did Clarence go? Oh, these two kids. She just got into Yale, and we're like, all right, I'm going to intervene in whatever's going to happen here. Maybe is it that?
I think it's grosser. I think he became more interested when he saw that Dylan had Brenda and Kelly, and he was like, I want to watch this mess.
Yes, I think that's 100% it. Clarence, dirty fucking Clarence from Brooklyn, wanted to see the threesome.
Oh yeah, Dylan did too.
Oh, so did I.
Like,
come on.
He said, so what are y'all saying?
Yeah. Well, they weren't being very clear, and Dylan's penis thought he understood.
Yeah, let's be glad he was, seated behind that table and stayed there for a minute.
I don't blame Dylan and his penis one bit. But okay, so Clarence is like, I gotta see this play out. That's when he decides to save them.
Yes.
When does God decide to intervene?
When he's sick and tired of hearing Clarence and Miriam bicker about this shit. He said, "Oh, shut up!"
Maybe, yeah, or it like, is it like when he found out they were rich, or was he like saving the madrigals because they like they there's these kids didn't do anything. They're just wassailing, for God's sake.
Yes.
Like, and they're not only wassailing, but they're telling you that they are going to be wassailing while they're wassailing. It's a meta as fuck, and Santa is like, save the madrigals.
I definitely had the bitter thought that God only cares about rich kids because, you know, and maybe here's why, because he knows those rich kids feel really guilty about, well, only once a year, but they feel really guilty about their privilege, so they're gonna help God 1 month a year with the little kids, the underprivileged kids.
I like it. Yeah, that means I jump on that, God. Or was God saving Mrs. Teasley because he felt so bad for her that she has to deal with these assholes?
That makes more sense to me. I mean,
yeah,
I would save her. I can't. I'm too late, but I would save her.
Yeah. I mean, here's the thing. Only Donna is left as someone who has not pissed off Mrs. Teasley.
Yeah.
I mean, it's Steve, and then it's everybody else. And so I sure hope Donna doesn't get into trouble later this season.
Oh, no.
Because then who's Mrs. Teasley going to care about?
Oh, God.
Because she's already had it with these fools. So, it's either God cares about rich kids or God cares about Mrs. Teasley. And I want it to be that God cares about Mrs. Teasley.
I do too. I like that so much better.
Yeah. Okay. What did this episode make you nostalgic for?
Oh boy. So I was a choir nerd in high school.
Sure.
And my school did madrigal dinners.
Okay.
So
do you have to dress up in like poofy sleeves and hats and shit?
In medieval costumes. Absolutely. It was awesome. So
how many lute players?
None. It was the theater and the choral department getting together because, the theater would like put together little sketches to do before or in between musical merriment. There would be food.
If I ever said musical merriment, I'm joking, but you said it like you meant it.
Yes, I did. I took it very seriously. I miss my choir days.
In between musical merriment, we're going to do this.
Shout out to Mrs. Hampton. But yeah, so the chamber singers, which is what the choir group was, it was the choral group after school.
Okay.
So those of us who really couldn't get enough time singing during the day, we stayed later. We were the elite. Good times.
1%. You're like the Yale like the people accepted to Yale of madrigals.
Been in the 1%. So yeah, we had madrigal dinners every year, and I think my senior year is when I got to be at the table where we were supposed to be like monarchy.
Sure.
But yeah, that was the senior year was the year I got to sing at the table, and it was a good time, and it was lovely, and we wassailed all night.
Oh, good for you. I like it.
Funnily enough, years prior to that, when I was in the theatrical portion of it, was when I had my first kiss. So, see, dinners were the most magical time for me in high school. I thought it was playing Belle. No, it was magical dinners.
There you go. Okay, so as coincidence would have it, this wasn't actually going to be my nostalgia moment because it's more tied to It's a Wonderful Life than it is to this episode. But I had my first kiss following a viewing of It's a Wonderful Life.
Oh,
Yep. So there you go. This is First Kiss Corner apparently tonight.
darling.
Yep. So, yeah. So, but
Be the youngest person to have their first kiss after It's a Wonderful Life.
Possible, yeah. Come here, sweetie. All the old folks giving smooches.
You just wasted on the young.
You just wasted on the wrong people. Come on back here. I'll show you some kissing to put hair on your head. What'd you wish you could do that raw? What my nostalgia moment was gonna be was sort of related to your magical situation in that, like, I wasn't in the singing group, I wasn't in the Providence Singers, but I was a popcorn player, and so we were the theater side.
Nice.
And we did these little Christmas skits, and we went around to schools like the Alvarado Street situation, except for they were just deanery schools that were all going to feed into my high school anyway. But it was Christmas performances that you would get to leave school for because they were during the day for school kids. It was the most fun. We got to wear T-shirts and long underwear with boxer shorts over the top of the long underwear. Because that's the way elves dress or something. I don't know, but that's what we did. And we did all these performances, and I watched other people sing. But yeah, holiday merriment. In between our musical merriments, we got performances. So thumbs up for that shit.
Say that with no irony.
Maybe it's because I live between the musical merriments. Maybe that's my position, and so like I don't think of things outside of me.
Musical merriment is my green room.
There it is. There it is. I love it. It's so funny. Like, this is going to be a short episode, and I'm surprised because it's so fucking silly.
Cool.
But like, we ran right through all the stuff that happens in it.
Oh, I don't know what else to like dig in on other than like nitpicky things I noticed in the episode.
Let's back up then, because I think we didn't spend a lot of time with Kelly and Dylan and Brenda.
Okay.
And this relationship, the way that they're trying to navigate it, and like, is it reasonable that they tried to navigate it this way? Are they all ridiculous? Is Dylan 100% in the wrong here, or is he like a victim of their design? Like, I think there's a lot going on there that's kind of weird. So
I think they're all delusional.
So it's not a reasonable setup. Like, you can't see a circumstance.
No, because they think they think the change ends with the conversation, you know? But the change has to happen in actions.
Yeah.
You know, it's kind of like when Brenda came back from France and had to talk with Jim, like, you know, I've changed and you've changed and we've come to an agreement. Have you? What was it, Brenda? What did you learn? Very little, except how to smoke, how to French inhale. Yeah.
And
so,
I
think they're all ridiculous. I think they're delusional. I think it's unfair that Miriam said, no, the unraveling doesn't start with Brenda kissing Dylan.
Yeah, Brenda's being taken off the hook here. You know?
Like, it's always the woman outside of the relationship's fault. It's never the man. It's never the woman except they're not in a relationship anymore. And like, they clearly want to be a throuple. They just don't know how to navigate that. And again, like, fair, you're teenagers. But I mean,
right.
The fact that there's a scene after they have the conversation of they're just shoving food in his mouth. I'm like, okay. I don't care what you all do or don't do behind closed doors, but please take whatever this is and figure it out behind a closed door because it's a lot.
Yeah. I feel like, well, there's no chance this was going to go that direction.
No, this isn't
Not
Euphoria.
not yeah, not in 1992. That was not going to be the way this story played out. Um, because this is early for love triangles in TV, you know?
Oh, okay.
So like they're gonna like the most interesting way this can play out is like he has to choose between the two of them because this is not really a thing that's been on TV too much anymore. Probably in soap operas, sure. But, this is a teenage show. Like a teenage love triangle, I don't think that's ever existed. So you're not going to skip that and go
Yeah,
right to teenage throuple. Like
it's
that is a bridge too far.
man, it
But
would have
I'd
been
be here
great.
for it. Show me that. Except for if that's what's happening on Euphoria, I'm not watching that show because I feel like that show's going to freak me out.
Well, here's the thing. There is a happy medium between the show that refuses to do it and the show that says, "Oh, we'll do it and show you every single inch of it."
Right.
Like
Right.
there's a happy medium for those of us who are like, you know, non-kink shamers, but a little vanilla. Like
Right. Yeah.
I don't know why
Like
I had to put a pause like I'm a bunny. I'm not
I
into
don't
that,
either.
but
I don't know. I don't know. It's like you've got these claws and these fucking fangs, and you don't know how to kill the bunny. Are you familiar with swingers?
no.
Oh,
But that
that's
was a funny line.
yeah, it's really funny. You're not hurting. You're playing with it. You're batting it around. You don't want to kill the bunny. Yeah, swingers is awesome, and we're gonna have to watch it at some point. Neither here nor there. Except for we're talking about thruples and swingers and whatnot.
Yeah. You know.
Um. Okay, I can't. Here's what I can't decide. I can't decide who's more wrong out of these three fools.
Because I
Like,
don't think it's fair to anyone to put like I mean, there are things that I didn't like. You know, I didn't like that Brenda, kissed Dylan and kind of started this unraveling. But as she said, some backsliding will happen.
mm-hmm.
I don't blame Kelly for this. I blame the writers. I hate that she said, "Well, Brenda said I had to do by any means necessary."
Right.
Kelly, honey,
She
no.
wanted to snog and she needed an excuse.
It's fine. Just, call it like it is.
Mm-hmm.
And I really didn't like Dylan going, "You tell me you love me, you tell me you're attracted to me," and like more or less shaming them and just borderline being like, "You all are asking for it." Because,
Yeah.
yeah,
I think fuck Dylan is kind of where I'm at with this right now.
that's fair.
Um, because he started all this shit by
True.
making out with Kelly. And he's the one who was dating Brenda. So like it's more his fault than it is Kelly's fault.
Oh, yeah.
And then he like when Brenda breaks up with him, he immediately starts dating Kelly, which is like zero chill. Like it's ridiculous what you're doing. Calm down. You know you're causing problems. And then he pulls back the minute the only possible thing that could happen, which is everybody gets upset, happens. He leaves town,
Mm-hmm.
spends 2 weeks away, and when he comes back, he kisses both of them immediately in the hallway,
Yeah.
saying, "Guess what? Chaotic evil is back.
Let the games
Like,
begin.
yeah, I'm here to just fuck with everybody." And then they try to do this, whatever, they being Brenda and Kelly, telling Dylan how it's going to be. He's like, I thought you were going to give me some pie. Fuck yeah, he did. That's exactly what he thought. Thought he was getting 2 slices of pie. But he ain't getting none. And so he's like, he's like, they try to put some of the power in the girl's hands here, but then Dylan goes and makes out with both of them, like
Mm-hmm.
back-to-back days. He's just, and now they're giving him the power completely. Like, now you get to choose between the two of us.
Which is sad. I get it. They don't. Listen, it sucks making choices because everyone is afraid of making the wrong choice. And yet, we all want more control in our lives. So why wouldn't you just, you know, say, well, you know what? This is too messy. You know what? This is just exhausting. We are never getting back together. Like, ever.
Yeah, ever. I mean, I was going with a different song. I was going that the Indigo Girls are right. That the sweetest part is acting after making a decision. Like, fucking make a choice, Dylan, and then like that. But right now, he's trying real hard to make this three-way happen, and it just doesn't happen. I mean, I'm sorry, Dylan. It's not gonna go that way for you this time. I understand why I understand why he's trying. I get it.
Of course. Nope.
And also because this kind of shit's been real effective for him in the past. I mean, the number of people he slept with, clearly, like, he knows what he's doing.
Even though we have no knowledge of that outside this show.
Yeah, but Dylan fucks, and we all know it. So,
Dylan is Grandpa from Little Miss Sunshine.
In the trunk?
No, he's like, listen, kid, I fucked a lot of women. Not one, a lot of women.
That's right. If I was your age, I'd be mounting every woman in Wabasha.
Jesus.
Grumpy Old Men. Have you seen Grumpy Old Men?
Yes, but I don't have it memorized.
You should. It's really funny. Not the point. So, yeah, the Dylan Brenda Kelly thing is, like, I think it's just, I don't know. Like, I've heard them say that, like, the whole idea was, can we tell this story where this kind of thing happens, but the girls stay friends? And they find a way to stay friends. And, like, I know that's the thrust behind it, but the mechanics of it are so fucking weird. I know I said thrust. I didn't mean to, but I did. It's the world we live in. Sometimes in between our musical merriments, I like to say the word thrust.
Oh my God.
Happy holidays, motherfuckers.
Yep.
All right. Who is your Steve Sanders Memorial Worst Person of the Episode?
I wrote down every kid but Donna sucks, but I'm going to add in every kid but the Madrigal Singers and Donna suck. Because they do.
That little yo-yo girl's pretty cool.
Oh, okay, I mean all the teenagers besides the Madrigal Singers and Donna. They suck. But everyone who tries to get out of doing this thing that they volunteer to do because of their own shit, you suck.
Yep.
You put Donna through so much stress. You made Mrs. Teasley have to go all hard ass on you. And she's like, I just want to get to the holiday break. Can I do that? Can I do that without getting convicted of murder? Please?
Or dying in a fiery bus crash. So I could be very harsh and say that the worst people in the episode are the poor people, because without them, these kids wouldn't be on the bus to begin with.
Wow.
So if there just weren't any poors, then
wow.
Just saying, bad job, Alvarado Street children being poor. No, the worst person of the episode is Greg Clemens. Like, this dude's just drinking and driving a garbage truck down city streets, weaving in and out of traffic, like, requiring magical intervention not to murder 20 children. Greg Clemens can suck it. Craig Clemens is all right. He's on the 405.
Yeah.
But Greg Clemens, bad job, Greg Clemens.
I hope you get help. I hope you're doing better. Yeah.
But the real worst person of the episode is whoever decided to play Little Saint Nick, motherfucker. Ugh. Musical supervisor can just eat it this episode.
You don't miss no one.
I hate that song so much. It's so dumb. Like, why is he little? Why is he little?
I don't even. It's so funny. I like the song. I'm not. I don't have the heart to argue about it with you because it's not my favorite. I have no skin in the game here. And then two, like when it comes to Christmas songs, again, now that I'm back into caroling, I mean, I will never sing "Grandma Got Run Over by a Reindeer." I hate that song.
Fair.
It's stupid.
It is stupid, but it's funny.
It's stupid.
It is stupid.
Okay.
Here's the difference. Patsy and Elmo are trying to be funny. The Beach Boys are, I don't know, singing a song about Santa Claus being little. I don't fucking get it. It's so dumb.
But it's like one of the few songs where the Beach Boys pull me in with their harmonies. I'm like, okay, I can kind of get why y'all were a big deal.
No, that's one of the songs where their harmonies cannot overcome the vapidity of the song. Like, the Beach Boys harmonies are amazing all of the time.
Yeah.
And all of their songs before Pet Sounds are about cars and surfing and girls. And they're all dumb. They're all stupid songs. But the harmonies are gorgeous. And you're just fucking in the whole way. They're great. Little Saint Nick is a bridge fucking too far. This song is stupid.
I love this. As someone who feels like she's the one always ranting on here, it's nice to yield the soapbox to you.
Little Saint Nick.
Fans of the song, you're not alone. I like it. I like it, especially done by Straight No Chaser. Shout out to IU.
No, here's what happens. I love Straight No Chaser. I went to school with those guys. I lived in the dorms with those guys. This is great. Why did you do that song? You ruined the whole album. Assholes. Now I gotta skip.
Shut up. They didn't ruin anything.
I have to skip that song on the album.
Oh my god, you get to work out your pointer finger finally.
I'm a thumb skipper.
You're a thumb skipper?
I skip through if I'm holding a remote control. I mean, I guess if I'm touching my car.
I'm thinking if you're in the car. Car.
My car. Here's what happens when I'm in my car and the first note of that song comes on. Panic. That's what happens. Panic ensues as I try to figure out, is it faster to reach the pause button? Is it faster to hit the input button on the steering wheel so that it changes the satellite radio onto the regular radio and I'm hearing AM static? Is that the fastest way not to hear any more of this song? It is 0.87 solid seconds of how do I get this off of the radio? Every time. And the worst possible outcome is to be stuck in line at a department store because you can't go anywhere. And you're just like stuck. I'm going to hear this whole song. I hate it.
I vaguely saw that kind of panic last year when we caroled around a campus and it's finals week. And I thought, oh boy, I don't think these kids are going to want us here. And I mean, we're good at reading the room, but you definitely feel at some point that they're just like,
yeah.
Really?
Uh-huh.
You think I want to deck the halls and be merry and gay and everything with... Really? Right now?
I got organic chem at 8 a.m. tomorrow. Yeah. And I haven't even read chapter 6 yet. Fuck me.
I'm thinking all of my life choices right now, and I want to go, yeah, you and me too, buddy.
Yeah. Finals week's tough. Sorry, everybody.
Sorry, everybody. You've got this.
I think so. All right, I think we did it.
I think we did too.
All right. So
it was a fun.
It wasn't.
Well, we spaced it out, but it took me some minutes.
I mean, it was going to be a short one, and then we had things to talk about. So this was a normal length episode. So join us here on Friday, Cheesemeisters, when there's really only one choice. We're watching It's a Wonderful Life. I'm excited. I never watched the movie before we record our Peach Pod episode, but I watched it last night. I love this movie so much. I can't wait. It's going to be fun to talk about. I have a couple of dark theories that we need to examine. But that is in no way an effort to ruin this movie that I love, because I've just seen it a million times, and you start to see things when you've seen something over and over and over again. So there is the wonderfulness of this movie, and then there's the possible dark satanic underbelly, and we're gonna have to talk about that.
I love it.
Yeah. So and then join us here next week when we will be discussing season 3, episode 17. The game is chicken.
Oh God.
Yeah. And there's a very special guest star. Yep. So you'll see. I mean, I'm sure you'll recognize him, but keeping in mind that he's younger than what you're normally used to seeing him as. So
Paul Newman?
it's not Paul Newman. I'm very sorry to disappoint you. I know it. All right. But until then, Cheesemeisters. Bye.